NYYST. This is New York. Yankee sports talk. Swinging for the fences, knock it out the park. This is New York. Yankee sports talk. Christian and Chris, of course SGR. This is New York. Yankee sports talk, homie, New York. Yankee sports talk. Record, rain or shine, grab your shades and umbrellas. NYYST, you're hanging with the fellas.
Welcome back. This is episode 345 of the NYYST podcast. We are live on NYY Underground. We are the movement, the real talk for the real fan. I am your host, Christian, as always, joined by my co-host, Chris.
You.
And SGR.
What up?
All right.
Okay.
We are
Okay.
NYYU. It's the movement. It's the underground movement, the real talk for the real fan. It embodies everything that we've been saying for the last 2 years. Okay. Everything that everybody fucking steals from us, that we have it first. Okay. You get it first here on NYYU, your mother. Okay.
No plagiarism here. Okay. NYYU. Okay.
And we'll get into that later on when a big part of the show this evening is going to be Gerrit Cole, because there's absolutely no reason to discuss this team's prospects in 2023, because they officially died on Sunday in Miami when the Yankees blew a 7-1 lead and then a 7-3 lead in the ninth inning and dropped that series to the Marlins. But we'll get all through that. But there's still games to play. The Yankees have games left to play, and one of them will be Saturday, and that will be against the Boston Red Sox, okay? And we will be live at Lido's Tavern in North Arlington, New Jersey, for a live broadcast of the NYYST podcast, okay? We're going to be there at 1 p.m., okay? There's going to be beer bucket specials. There's going to be foods. There's going to be appetizer samplers. We're also going to have giveaways during the game. So you're going to want to stay through the entirety of the game, because if you leave, you're beat. You can't win.
The big giveaways at the end, the raffle.
Okay. So we're very excited, man. I'm very pumped up and excited about this. I just wish that the Yankees weren't going to be an under 500 team when we hit the mics on Saturday, but it's still very exciting. I'm very pumped up.
Might make it more fun, to be honest.
On Saturday. Okay, it's going to be fun.
And just real quick, it's not called Lido's Tavern.
Like that's what the owner told me to call it. Okay.
Really? Well, here's the thing. We might have people coming from out of the area. So
in North Arlington, Google Lido's in North Arlington. You'll get there. Okay.
I'm going to try that right now.
Well, it should pop up.
Yeah. Okay. Lido's, North Arlington, 11 River Road, North Arlington. Please come out. There's going to be some good specials. Who you want to read the specials, or you want me to read the specials?
I got it. Okay.
Okay. You got it.
Okay, so there are 2 Lido's locations. We're going to be in North Arlington. Like Chris said, 11 River Road. Just put it in your Google Maps, okay?
Okay. Pete will be there.
Okay. So there are going to be beer bucket specials starting at $18 for domestic, $22 for imported, and then if you're a fancy boy, $26, okay? All right.
Wow.
Also, ballpark samplers will be served, but you have to pay for it.
Okay.
Hot dogs, nachos, pretzels, beer, cheese, all the good stuff you get at the ballpark in one plate. Also, there will be raffles, and people will receive tickets after purchasing items off the menu. There will be packages put together for the 7th inning stretch and an end of the game raffle. Certain things that you can win. This is all part of. This is from Lido's. Okay, so. A Coors Light backpack chair, gift certificates to the restaurant, a Snoop Dogg bobblehead, along with other items. And also, I have personally 2 giveaways that I'll be doing early on in the game. So
does the Snoop Dogg bobblehead come with the joint?
All right, it might.
Okay,
that's actually it's a Corona one, so you can open up the Corona on his head.
Okay.
So I'm extremely excited for it. We're all going to be there. Come out 1 p.m. at Lido's in North Arlington, New Jersey. 1 p.m. Let's share our misery of this team together.
That's it, man. That's it. Just share the fucking. Let's all be together.
Against Boston.
If we have to deal with this whole season, right? Let's at least take one day where we get to do a show and also be with the other people who are just as miserable as us.
And if you're in the underground, the NYY underground chat right now, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let's get up to 20K. The event is still going on at Yankee Stadium. September 23rd in the Audi Club. Tickets are still available for that. It's another time. Let's share our misery together. Okay. I'm sure the Yankees will be 15 under at that point. But
okay.
But we got a lot going on here. Unfortunately, not a lot going on for this baseball team who just looked completely overmatched in Atlanta this week. And you guys were asking what the Braves do that the Yankees don't do. And it's pretty simple. They trust their young players. They play their young players. They pay their young players. And when they want to be aggressive and go get a superstar like Matt Olson, they go out and do it.
Get him.
It's wild to think that the Braves lost Ronald Acuna Jr. for the season and won a World Series. The Yankees lost Aaron Judge and they became the worst.
The Rail Riders.
They became the worst team in Major League Baseball. You can't convince me that the Oakland A's are worse because
because of the context. Because of the context of where they're supposed to be.
Sure.
So
can I ask a quick hypothetical just before we get into things?
Yeah.
I know we asked this question, this type of question. It wasn't exact a couple years ago, but I want to ask because I was thinking about it. You have a choice. Okay. Hypothetical. Okay. You have a choice.
Okay.
Because now this is the first time since 1995 that we've dealt with this for this long, and they're under 500 and so on and so forth. So it's really the first time in our adult life, obviously. And now we know the difference between a winning season, regular season, and what could possibly be a losing regular season. Now, here's the question. You have a choice. You can get one more World Series in your lifetime, guaranteed. But every other season is like this season, where you're just miserable. Or you have a winning season where you enjoy baseball all year long. You get to watch them in the playoffs, but they never win a World Series.
No, I'm not signing up for that.
Think about how miserable this year has been. I haven't even gotten into like an asshole. I still turn the games on, but I haven't gotten into them. Like it's been terrible.
Yeah. No, it's definitely more enjoyable for the, full season when they're good. But you're telling me that I would take the last decade for one more in my lifetime?
That's a loser mentality because that's what everybody's like. Oh, you can't fire Brian Cashman. They win 90 games every year.
So
thank you.
So then to my point, when Michael K gets on the radio and says, they made it to the ALCS, they don't do anything.
Ugh.
It doesn't matter. We take these seasons every year for the rest of our lives, except for one, if that one meant a World Series again in our lifetime. That's how important it is. That's how important it is. So there's no fucking defending this team anymore at all.
No.
The team's atrocious. I mean, they showed a little bit of fight early in game one in the Atlanta series. They got a couple runners on and scored a couple runs, and then it was they felt like Clark Schmidt had a perfect timing on taking his biggest shit of the year in that game, and then that was over. And then they didn't even compete in the last two games. What did they get? One hit on Tuesday night. Charlie Morton struck out 10 guys last night. I mean,
sucks because they got good pitching in the final night too. It was,
Yeah, I mean, this is what frustrates me right now, right? Because obviously I have no hope left. The season officially for me died on Sunday. When they lost that game on Sunday, I was done in the context of I don't expect any type of run out of this team. Like you said, am I still going to watch every game? Of course, because it's just what I do. It's like it's not something that I can turn on and off. It's like I'm just going to still watch. I watched fucking Jake Fromm quarterback the New York Giants 2 years ago. You don't think I'm going to fucking sit through the rest of this Yankee season?
I forgot he was there.
So this is just it's just who I am as a fan. I'm going to sit there and watch it, but you got to give me something. Okay. I didn't want to get into it last week, but I want to get into it a little bit now because I wasn't here past the trade deadline. I was on vacation and, I recorded that video, but it's hard to kind of get everything in a freestyle where you just want to do one take and have it done in 5 or 10 minutes. The Yankees, it was a colossal disaster. This trade deadline. And, there were reports out from our own Pete Simonetti, okay, among other, he had it first, okay. People stealing shit from the NYYU, okay.
Okay, plagiarism, okay.
That Cash wanted to sell and Hal blocked him on it. So Cashman's his response to that was to do nothing. I mean, had to take you had to pick a lane. Okay. The Yankees had to pick a lane at the trade deadline. They did neither. This team is it is what it is. You see, it's terrible. It's awful. It's pathetic. All right. So if you can't get rid of expiring contracts and pick up a couple of prospects and then create spots for young guys, then you have to go all in. You have to push the chips all in the middle of the table and do whatever you have to do. The Angels fucking did it, and it blew up in their faces. Would they go on like a 7-game losing streak after the trade deadline? But I have to respect the fact that they picked a lane and they went for it, right? Just like the same thing with the Mets. The Mets picked a lane. They said, there's no sense in putting more money on top of this disaster. Let's back out of it, right? The Yankees didn't either. How do you operate like that where you have two options? One, you can sell me on honestly, I didn't want to sell, but you could have sold me on either option. You can't sell me on doing absolutely nothing because okay, you're not good enough to win this year. So what did you do to help the next year's team? Nothing. Okay, so you don't want to look to the future in that sense. So what did you do to help this year's team? Nothing. That's just a bad general manager at that point. If Brian Cashman has this much fucking control over your organization, why doesn't he? How did he not get to do his way? Because people always like to talk shit about Hal and say he doesn't pay attention, he doesn't do this. Maybe Hal recognized the last time that Brian Cashman sold at the trade deadline, it didn't fucking work, and he didn't want him to do it again. Did that thought cross anybody's mind?
Then why is he still here?
Well, that's the bigger problem. That's another point that we have to figure out. Why is he still here? Why did he put it? If the reports are true, why did he put his foot down? But why did he also still employ the guy? It's mind-boggling. See, Hal is not as dumb and checked out as everybody thinks that he is. In my opinion, I think he realizes shit. He tells Brian Cashman certain things to do and what not to do, but he doesn't ever rip the fucking Band-Aid off and get rid of him.
Well, I think the biggest thing we've been talking, and again, we're always the first to say shit, and then, we get no credit for it. 4 months later, everyone's saying it. We've said that this team has turned into fucking CNN propaganda. It's like listening to politics at this point when they talk. And what's the one thing that matters more than anything else in politics, in media world? Optics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I think that Hal is involved when the optics are concerned the most. And I don't think Hal liked the optics of where they're supposed to be, where this fan base has been as far as being fed up. And he didn't like the optics of selling off a bunch of shit because of, like you're saying, Christian, didn't work last time. And he's not ready to just give up on all this after he just put how much money into Gerrit Cole, Aaron Judge, Carlos Rodon. I mean, how, as an owner, do you allow that to happen?
Well, that's an excellent point that you just made there, because you have to realize something. In 2016, when they sold, there were no more big contracts on the books. Teixeira was gone, A-Rod was gone, Jeter, Mo, they all retired. So you could have done this. So now you have Judge, you have Cole, you have Rodon and Stanton on massive contracts. If you're Hal, why do I pull the plug on this when I have all this money invested into this?
Do you think do you
Go
think
ahead.
Hal's opening his eyes a little and regretting giving Cashman another contract?
And just cut the cord, man. Cut the cord at the end of the season. If it's that, if you're willing to, again, we're for sake of argument, and we've gotten enough stuff right here where I do want to say that I believe it. That Hal said no, you can't sell at the deadline. Cut the cord, then, man. Say, Brian, it's not working out, bro. It's just not working out. You're always going to be invited to Thanksgiving dinner. I have a spare room on the yacht for you, but you can't run my baseball team anymore.
Yeah, I think what that comes down to then is how much does Hal really want to win a championship versus how much of this is he running like a business? Because if it's just a business approach, then don't change anything, because with change comes, you're not sure what could happen. Yankees are number 2 in attendance this year at one game under 500. If you take Cashman out and replace him, you could see a change in either direction, but maybe that's just
but here's the thing at this point. Hal, if that's the case, and I don't disagree with you one bit, if that's the case and Hal is in touch and does have his finger somewhat on the pulse right now, he knows that there's one thing that will, and I'm not saying people aren't going to show up next year regardless. You're, like we talked about a couple weeks ago, you're always going to have people. You're going to have tourists. You're going to have people that just want to get inside Yankee Stadium to see it for the first time, all of that. But if you truly want a consistent crowd, sellouts here and there and whatever, there is one thing you can do right now that would put the fans back on your side and at least be optimistic for the future of this team, regardless of what that future is right now. And that would be getting rid of Brian Cashman, because then all of us would be like, you know what? Good job, Hal. I'm going to give you a fucking standing O, and I'm going to be in your stadium next year.
Yankees need a breath of fresh air. Okay. It's the simplest way I could say. They need a breath of fresh air. And, we come on here and we're like, fire Brian Cashman. And it's not because Brian Cashman has been a terrible general manager for the last 30 years. It's because he's been a terrible general manager for the last 6 years.
Correct.
And that's all that I care about right now. He has not gotten the Yankees over the hump. He put his fingers on this team. He was the only cook in the kitchen after 2016. He said, Hal, give me the keys. I want to run this thing. And Hal said, okay, do your thing. And the Yankees have gotten further and further away from this. They were one game away from the World that we all know, 2017, right? That should have been the launching point of the next dynasty. It really should have been. If Brian Cashman had his finger on the pulse of what it took to be a general manager in the late 2010s and 2020s, that would have been the launching point of another Yankee dynasty. Okay, correct. It really would have been.
Yeah.
We said we said it the second 2016 happened. The second we woke up and saw Miller was traded and all those guys, and our hearts kind of sank, and fucking we realized they were selling for the first time in our lifetime. We said Brian Cashman's legacy really starts right now, because George is gone and Hal's going to give him the keys, and this is going to be his team to build. And he just didn't do it right. I mean, look at Tom Brady, right? Is Tom Brady going to go down as at least arguably the best quarterback of all time?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
If he played for the next 10 years, would you be confident that he'd still be the greatest quarterback of all time if he didn't retire again?
Well, his legacy would be damaged for
Correct. Some people just either physically can't do it anymore, or their time is just expired, right? That doesn't mean that they weren't great at some point and didn't do a lot of great things and still can't do some good things. So when people argue about how Cashman is a Hall of Fame general manager and how he's had all these winning seasons and all these I don't care anymore. You want to argue about if he's a good GM or bad? I'm not going to actually waste my energy with you doing that. I'm simply going to make the argument that everyone's time expires at some point. Everything goes stale after a while. Brian Cashman has been in this organization since 1986. It's time to move on. It's been time to move on. And now it's all being exposed, and it's really fucking bad. But real quick, we have 2 super chats. One from Ronnie. Thanks, Ronnie.
Ronnie.
Big Ron.
Hal is on the castration table with an opportunity to kick the surgeons in the mouth and run out of the hospital. Fire Cashman, Firebone. Couldn't agree more. And our boy Ra, he said, "What's up, fellas? The articles that are coming out regarding the development of their prospects is absolutely disgusting. I feel so bad for Peraza and Florial, however the hell you say it. Wouldn't know. He hasn't been up here long enough. It's minor league genocide."
Yeah, what is that? Ben Ruta? Is that how you say it? He's coming out with some quotes.
Yeah,
New York, he said, here's a quote here. New York is a tough market. Fans and media analytics are fine, but when you have a bad product and it's obvious and it gets defended by constantly telling you it's not as bad as it looks because so-and-so analytic is actually really good, this is how a fan base gets frustrated.
See, a guy like Ben Ruta, did you know who Ben Ruta was before he opened his mouth yesterday?
I remember the name.
I take it with a grain of salt. I'm not saying he's lying, and I'm sure, there's nothing I believe more than that there's fundamental issues. We've been saying it forever. I don't need Ben Ruta to tell me that. I can't imagine how egregious it gets. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like I'm still going to take it with a grain of salt with what he says because exactly what Christian was.
Yeah, here's another quote. He said, "Keep in mind, I played in the Yankees organization before analytics in 16 to 18 and then after in 18 to 20. Stark difference in development."
I mean, I would believe that to 100%. Be the case because that's of the timeline of when Brian Cashman took over in the organization. But the Yankees have had issues predating 2016 of developing prospects. I mean, who's really come up here? We know. Yeah. NYYST. Hopefully Volpe. I mean,
yeah. Volpe's looked really good this past month.
He's looked much better at shortstop.
He's looking like a major leaguer now.
But yeah, so that's basically, you hear a lot of people want to, like Chris said, how many times have the Yankees finished under 500 since 1992? Well, 0. But why does that matter at this point? That's what I want somebody. Why does that matter right now? What are the Yankees supposed to do? Aren't they supposed to be World Series contenders every year? They're not. Yeah. They're not, though.
And they're not changing anything. That's the problem.
Right. That's the problem because when they sucked in the 80s and they sucked in the 90s, they made major changes. Like when our episode last week or 2 weeks ago, in the 80s, they had seven different general managers because it was a little much, but they were making changes. That's the thing that
nobody wants to talk about with George is that he was a friggin' maniac, though. Yeah. I'm not going to lie and say that I don't like stability in the organization, but I think we're past that now where we need change now. The stability is not, you're not going from 3 general managers in 4 years. You're going 2 in 30 years. So
everything has an inverted curve, an inverted U. There's 2 sides. There's 2 extremes here. There's stability. And then there's, what would you call it, George? Recklessness sometimes, right?
Sometimes, yeah.
So stability and recklessness are the 2 extremes. The middle to get to the top of that curve means that you have to have a little bit of both. But I think the thing that brings it all together is accountability. You can only have that middle ground when there's accountability involved because that's when you truly know who should be here and who shouldn't. And there's just no accountability in this organization at all, which makes what they're doing now, it's not stability. It's just as awful as being extremely reckless. There's just no input anymore. There's no this is what's happening and this is what we should do. It's just like, we're going to keep doing it. Let's keep doing it. Everyone who's here is going to keep doing it.
Yeah. And what is that? Is that the propaganda at work? Is that the delusion?
It's Hal being scared of actually having to start something over with a guy that he needs to earn his trust.
Why is he scared?
What's never done it before? He's never done it before.
Trying to break this shit down,
His father, his father passed away, and then it was kind of left to his brother, who also unfortunately passed away, and then it was just kind of left to him. And the one constant in all of that was Brian Cashman,
right?
So
safety net.
It is. It's a safety net.
I'll catch you. Just fall.
No, but at this, and I get it, dude. Like comfortability, especially if this is not really, maybe this is not something that Hal ever really wanted. But at the same time, like if you're gonna run the organization, you're gonna be the I know the Yankees are in a partnership group, but he's the guy, right? It all comes down from him.
Yes.
So I mean, if you're gonna be the guy, then you have to make the tough decisions. I mean, you can't. And honestly, like I know what he's looking at. He's looking at the bottom line, like, oh, we make X, Y, and look at all the money we make. But that's not good enough for the fan base. Like, because you're eventually going to tune this fan base out, and it's going to start. You know, it was curious timing when they announced that Derek Jeter was going to be at Old Timers Day this year. Very curious timing, because we all knew. I don't know if you guys knew. I knew that they were going to honor the '98 team at Old Timers Day this year. I didn't know Jeter was going to be there.
Yeah.
Very curious timing that they announced that Jeter was going to put on the pinstripes for the first time since he retired, after everything kind of just fell to shit here.
Yeah, man. Very propaganda-like, right?
Yeah, that's
when there's a major vote happening in Congress, what happens? There's aliens.
optics.
They set Hawaii on fire.
Optical illusions.
Yeah.
Optical delusion.
Yeah, but we do want to. I personally want to just say that it's just devastating what happens out there, and it's just fucking really unfortunate. So not something to joke about. But would you put it past this government?
No, I mean it just came out. They literally shut the water off. I don't know the explanation behind it. I'm sure there's something, but it's like it's not like a fucking, there's a whole thing on it. There's a whole statement on it. So you pick up the pieces and put them in place.
I mean, you can, coincidentally, people can say what they want. We were all distracted by the Titan submersible. What else happened that was going on that week? Right? So, just saying.
Okay.
Oh, God.
You got to
so loud.
You have to change that. You really do.
Sorry.
Oh, that scared the shit out of me.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Anyway, off the conspiracy theories here, but we are the underground, bro. This is
bro. That's we're gonna have to step that up now.
So, to kind of put a bow on this, like what because we heard the report a week ago, right? That it's not really even a consideration that Hal gets fired. Is there that Cashman gets fired? Can things get that bad the rest of the way where Hal's mind changes?
Maybe.
Look, if the report is true, and like you said, Pete's got sauces.
Awesome. And he's got sauces, I heard.
And
pizza, Minetti pizza.
Okay,
sauce.
And there has been several incidents now where even the craziest things like that I didn't believe, like Jordan Montgomery getting traded for Harrison Bader hours and hours before it actually happened. He gets these things in and they're true. So I trust this guy. And if the report is true that Hal stopped Cashman from doing his job, and if my theory is true that it's the optics and he can't give up on a team that he's put so much money into at this point with guys that are supposed to be in their prime, there's still a very, 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 very small chance that maybe he's waking up enough. And if this gets bad enough that, maybe it happens, but I'm not going to get my hopes up.
Yeah.
I just can't.
Just to use like a wrestling term, like it's a slow face turn for Hal Steinbrenner. Like, you'd watch a character be a bad guy.
Yes.
And he do these little things subtly over the course of a year, here and there. And then all of a sudden, then he has this full blown face turn where he's a good guy now. Right.
Right.
We've seen this happen with Hal over the course of the last year.
Yeah.
The Judge contract. Okay. He put his foot down and did what he needed to do to get Aaron Judge back. Can you say that's a business decision more than it is a baseball decision? Well, yeah, you could say that, but he didn't let Aaron Judge leave. That's number one, right?
Right.
Because we all sat here and discussed that is there a limit to where Hal goes to re-signing Aaron Judge? And we all thought that there would be a line in the sand. But Aaron Judge kicked that fucking line in the sand, and he made Hal go past it.
Can I do a very, very brief interview of you? I'm going to interrogate you a little bit because you're a diehard Giants fan also. And there's a lot of comparisons we can make here. So let me just ask you a couple questions. As a Giants fan, before they finally fired the GM, did you have that same feeling as you do as a Yankee fan where he'll never do it? They'll never, no matter what happens, they'll never fucking wake up and do it.
I have a different view of Mara than Hal, only because Mara is kind of it's more in him to run the organization than Hal is. But the difference is, would the Giants? Yeah, it was a doubt in my mind that they would ever break what.
Were you shocked when it happened?
When they fired Gettle? No, I wasn't shocked that it happened. I was shocked that they didn't hire another quote giant guy. Like they went in a completely different direction in bringing in Joe Shane and Brian Daboll. Then, because you know, if you look back, they're all connected some way. You know, it's all the giant, you know, the giant guys.
And then my next question would be, was there a definitive point, do you think, that whatever was there a definitive moment when Mara woke up and said, I have to do this now?
Yeah, when he got fucking booed every time.
That's what I was going to ask. I knew there was something that happened.
Yes, dude. He hated getting booed,
Yeah.
dude. They honored who was the 2011 team? One of those Super Bowl teams. They honored them. He came out, got booed. And then I think when they put Eli in the Ring of Honor.
Yeah, it was a halftime ceremony for Eli.
Yeah, he booed twice that. He didn't like that. He didn't like that. That was what it was. So didn't Hal get booed last year when Jeter was when they
and he hasn't stepped on the field, I don't think, since.
Well, he needs to get his ass out there to get booed again, and he's not going to like it.
Oh, we'll see.
But to go back to that whole slow face turn thing, then he wanted somebody fired after Jameson Tyone came in here and shut the Yankees down. Him and his 80 ERA, right?
Yeah.
And George does. That's a George move right there. Yeah. I'm not saying it's the most rational thing in the world, but sometimes you just need I can't. Something has to change right now because I can't deal with what's happening, right?
Right.
So what else, are we going to continue to move in that direction? That's what I need to know now. Like, are we going to continue to move in that direction? And a big step. I mean, are we going to continue with the slow burners? Are you going to completely turn babyface here and fire? That big move would be firing Brian Cashman at the end of the year. Yeah. Can the Yankees get to a point here though, where is just being under 500 enough to make the change, or does it have to get to the point where they're 10 under and there's 12,000 people in the ballpark that last weekend of the year? Like, is that what we need to see?
Well, not to go too much deeper, I know we want to get to Cole, but I think you touched on it perfectly. Mara is a football guy. That's his life, right? The Giants are his life. And I'm not saying the Yankees aren't Hal's life, but there's a difference in something being your life that you've inherited, and George, his dad was a fucking, not just the owner, he was a huge fan.
And that's the difference between Mara. That's the one thing I saw the difference between Mara and Hal, is that John Mara wanted this. He wanted to be the.
So how much do boos really affect Hal Steinbrenner when people are still filling the seats in the business that he owns?
Do you think he likes it though?
No. I'm not saying he likes it, but my point is, when Mara walks out onto the field and he gets booed, his biggest thing is, this is my baby. This is what I was born to do. This is what I care about. I care about the putting a product on the field.
Right. And you have to understand also the Maras are the original owners of the New York Giants.
Right.
How many times were the Yankees sold before George bought
And
them?
the Steelers.
So
am I wrong with that? Is the brother on the Steelers?
Something like that.
They're related somehow.
Yeah.
And, that could be the difference. I'm not saying it doesn't affect Hal. I'm not saying there's not moments where Hal's like, okay, guys, we got to fucking do something a little different. But at the end of the day, is that
Rooney Mara?
Yeah, Rooney Mara, but then it's like the Rooney family.
Right. She's
Rooney,
named after them.
Yeah.
All
yeah,
right.
They're related somehow. I don't know.
But it's like Hal.
Okay.
Here's the difference. Hal puts his head on the pillow at night and says, okay, what's worse, getting booed
Yeah.
or having to find a guy that I can trust again and run things and know as much as Cashman? And his answer seems to be, I'll take the booze. I like trusting my guy. Where Mara is, all right, this might suck, but I can't take the booze and people hating this team anymore.
They're different. And there's also there's similarities and differences, and that's one of the big ones. There's a lot more familial pride with the Maras owning the Giants than maybe Hal has with owning the Yankees. But you have to hope that these little breadcrumbs that we've seen from Hal over the last year, that it has to happen, dude. And look, can say this all we want, that Boone's just a scapegoat and nothing really changes. Boone's going at the end of the year. I have to firmly believe that at this point.
Yeah.
He doesn't survive this season.
What if he does? What if I meant to ask that? How would you feel if he does survive?
And it's, you know what, dude, it's just like, I don't know the right analogy for it, because it's almost like you had a long-term, I guess you would say you had a long-term girlfriend and you were thinking that you're going to get back together with her, and then you see her showing up at the movies with a different guy, and life just goes on, but you have that, you just get that gut punch in your heart at that moment. I don't know if that's the right analogy, but that's kind of how you would feel.
Just like deflated, numb.
Just completely deflated and numb. And, but the difference is that you can't date that girl anymore. I'm still going to date the Yankees, for lack of a better term. I'm still going to be a fan, but maybe that connection just wouldn't be there. That there would be something missing next year, unless the Yankees go out there and just go fucking bananas in the offseason with trades and signing guys. And they really change the face of the outlook of this team on the field. If they bring back the same team and Boone's managing it, I mean, what do we expect next year? Nothing, honestly.
No, even worse.
Right.
El gato.
So, I'm glad you brought up Harrison Bader here, because just on a quick aside here, he sucks, and I can't wait till he's not a Yankee anymore. And I can't believe that I'm saying that, because we sat here and said you do the Montgomery trade 10 out of 10 times, and I still am saying that you do that trade 10 out of 10 times, but he's a guy that's been exposed, that can't hit right-handed pitching. He's not even really a good hitter. I mean, I think a lot of people were fooled by the run he went on in the postseason, and he got hot when he came off the IL, but he's pretty pathetic at the plate most of the time. So, I mean, he's a great defensive outfielder. He's not going to take a fourth outfielder role, but obviously you keep him to be like a defensive replacement fourth outfielder. But as a starting center fielder for the Yankees, I don't know where you go. I mean, it's something we can look at in the offseason, but I'm not giving Harrison Bader a long-term contract.
So now we'll need two outfielders. It's great. I'm in agreement with you. I'm just saying, like, this is how big of a disaster this team is.
Well, Everson Pereira wasn't in the Scranton lineup tonight, and we've heard rumors that he's going to be called up at some point this season, just whenever the Yankees can manipulate that service time. I believe that the date was somewhere around now, so it's entirely possible he gets called up. And that's what I was trying to get into earlier. Like, you have to give me something now. Like, I'm going to still sit here and watch these games. You have to give me something. And it's not IKF, all right? It's not Billy McKinney. It's not Kyle Higashioka. Call up Austin Wells. call up Pereira, call up anybody, and let them play now and see what you have. This is what you need to do. You need to know who's in your system. And I know they always say don't get fooled by September, but you need to know if these guys can come up here and get 35 games under their belt, and if there's a possibility that these guys are what you can possibly bank on next season. I don't, we're going to ruin their trade value. Their trade values are ruined because they're Yankee prospects. Okay,
Yeah.
So Peraza should be up here, right? He should be. Where do you want to play him? You want to play him at third base every day? Fine, play him at third base every day. You want to play him at I don't know. Can he play first? Fucking play him at first base. He should be up here for the rest of the season. Pereira, bring him up. These guys need to be up here. Give me one good reason why Randy Vasquez was sent to the minor leagues right before we came on to record today. What point are you trying to accomplish that you're going to send Randy Vasquez down? Now, unless somebody gets hurt, he can't come back up for 10 days. So that's 2 starts that you could have gotten out of him.
Crazy.
Is that a service time thing, you think, as well with Vasquez?
No, he has options. So, right?
But what's the move, though? We haven't seen the corresponding move. Rodon's supposed to come off the IL on Tuesday. So unless they're going to just bring up
Burrito?
The Burrito's up here already.
All right, so then
unless they're just going to bring up a reliever,
they're going to bring up a bullpen arm because they know they have no length out of anyone except Cole, and Vasquez is spent.
Okay,
look, here's the answer, dude. There's no plan. There's no vision. That's why none of these moves ever make sense. Smarter Yankees guys.
There can't be a vision because their vision got thrown in the garbage already because their vision was let's go in and compete this season. They didn't make any moves at the deadline. Their vision was that this is the 2023 Yankees and they're good enough to win a World Series. But that service time for Pereira, that would start, you can't exceed 45 days or 130 at-bats. So that's how you would retain your rookie eligibility. Just can't have 130 at-bats. So right around there.
Bring him. Who cares? Bring him up.
I know.
Let's go.
Is that why was Peraza up 45 days last year?
Something.
That's probably why. That's probably why he sat the bench so much. They didn't want him to get close.
So you know what? You got to give.
But it's also 45 days, Chris. So even if he was sitting on the bench the whole time.
No, I know. That's why I asked first. Was he up for 45 days?
Oh, that's what we're talking about right now. You can't trot this garbage out there every night. And I'm not saying that you call these guys up, they're going to go on a miracle run and win a wild card. No, I still think this team would probably finish under 500. But find answers. Wow. See if anything. And at least enthuse us a little bit to say, oh, I can watch, I'll watch Pereira and see what he is. I'll watch Austin Wells and see what he is. I like Randy Vasquez's stuff, dude. I thought – let's build off of what he did last night. I don't think he was terrible last night.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Runs and through 5, right? Through 5.
He had one tough inning, 2 runs
against that lineup. But let's see here. Do they have a miracle run in them? If you go back to 1995, their low point was 5 games under 500.
I'm being told that Peraza does not meet rookie criteria.
Okay. Wow.
Oh, they were smart with it, right?
Yeah, so that's smarter Yankees. So they were at 54 and 59. Then they've matched 60 and 61, right? Like where they're at now. Then they went on a crazy run. I think they went 19 and 4 to end the season. But they only played 145 games that year.
Because it was
it
coming off the strike.
Yeah, it started late because of the strike. They finished the year 79 and 65 and got that first ever wild card slot.
That team had Buck Showalter managing it.
It was a good team. We had a good team there. We had a good team.
And,
we had Mariano Rivera. We had John Woodland.
Imagine if he knew what Mariano Rivera was in 1995. The Yankees could have
Wasn't he
possibly.
still? Was he a setup guy that year? Or was he still a starter?
He was setting up for Whitland. He was setting up for Whitland there. Yeah.
Possibly beating the Mariners if he knew what Mariano Rivera was.
Might have been starting, Chris.
He started and he had some games.
Let's see, because I see he got the win on August 1st. I'm just pulling that up now. Let's see. He no, he came in out of the bullpen for Pettit.
Okay.
So he was already relief pitcher by then.
Yeah.
by the
They had
mid.
started transitioning him, but
Yeah.
they didn't realize who he was going to be at that point.
Yeah.
So, you know, can you, hello?
Yeah.
Hello.
You hear me?
Hello. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not getting talk back in my,
Hello. Hello. Can you hear me? Hello.
as long as you can hear me, that's fine.
I hear you.
All
Can you
right,
hear us?
fine. I just don't hear myself in my headphones.
Oh,
So.
okay. I didn't. I don't ever do that. That's pretty cool.
Anyway, I know I ripped Jerry Recco on the way out last week, and a former guest of this show, Sal Licata, just said something equally as stupid today on his show when he said that Aaron Judge deserves some of the blame for what's going on with the Yankees. So I mean, that the state of sports talk in New York is really fucking stellar these
It's
days.
great.
When
Stellar.
when you want to blame
Stellar.
Aaron Judge for what's happening here, because it's his fault that the team completely disintegrated when he was out. Because again, why did Aaron Judge miss 2 months of the season? Did he pull a hamstring running to first base? Did
Nope.
he
Broke a
get
wall.
get bicep tendonitis and miss 3 months?
No.
No, he ran through a fucking wall. He literally ran through a fucking wall.
Yeah, I mean, come on, dude. Then you look at the stats for this team and you look at the offensive numbers and it's Judge and everyone else. And the guy missed 2 months. He's what? Does he lead the team in home runs still?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is-
So
is-
yeah,
is in
that's
the 20s?
he's to blame. He's to blame.
He's like what? Still top? Is he still top 5 in the American League in home runs?
That I don't know, but
Or is top 7 he was?
when
Or
he came
some
back, he was still in the top 10. So I don't know how that's changed. But dude, anybody, and this is, and then
he's
you
out of
get
the top 5 now in home runs in the American League.
and then people are like, yeah, he sucks in the postseason. And then it's like what I said last week. I don't absolve him for the postseason that he had last year. It was terrible. But you look at his previous postseasons, and he hasn't have an 800 plus OPS. That's not terrible, especially in the postseason.
Yeah, he had that huge home run against Oakland in the wild card game too.
Maybe he didn't have a lot of like clutch home run. When people say clutch, like 8th inning, 9th inning, game tying, go ahead home runs. But how many times in a postseason game did Aaron Judge hit an early home run? And
he was the spark.
Yeah,
Oh.
I don't know.
I just don't get people's mentality that they want to rip on Aaron Judge. The guy, you want to name one guy that you don't question his effort on the field. It's Aaron Judge, dude. The guy literally ran through a wall to help this team win a baseball game.
Yeah,
because they have nothing better to say. These guys all, they want to be different. They don't want to, everyone's talking about Cashman, everyone's talking about whoever else. Then you're going to have your outliers who go to the most irrational, who clearly don't follow the team and realize what Aaron Judge has. If it wasn't for Aaron Judge, the Yankees probably wouldn't have made the postseason last year.
Absolutely not.
So, like, it's just honestly, and I know we have to talk about it. It's shit that it needs to be said in a pocket. It's just sad that we even have to spend time and energy on idiotic narratives like that.
And everybody wants to gargle Shohei Ohtani's balls, but if Aaron Judge doesn't run into that wall, does Aaron Judge is an MVP again this year?
100%, bro. He was fucking on pace. He was on pace of last year.
Oh, I can't say gargle balls on the underground. I can't say that.
Okay.
Just so you know what, dude? This is still my fucking team, okay? And I'm still gonna defend it against people that don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
So funny. Is Licata a Yankee fan?
Oh, he's a Met fan.
Oh, then shut the. What are you doing, man?
Right. That's exactly my point.
Oh my
this
God.
This is why I take personal offense to him when he says this dumb shit. He told Chris and I to our fucking face that even though he's a Met fan, he wanted to be a rational voice of not only the Mets but the Yankees and garner that respect that Mike and the Mad Dog had. And then ever since he fucking signed off on the show, he's just done nothing but have hideous fucking horrendous takes about this baseball team.
We got him on the show because you guys were beefing, and he
because he
confronted you
fucking
right away.
didn't, yeah, and because he had something stupid to say about Gerrit Cole, and I fucking called him out on it, and I'll give him credit for agreeing to come on the show and debate us.
Absolutely.
So I'll give him 100% credit for that. But don't come and tell us that you want to be the rational voice of the Yankee fan because that's your idol Mike and the Mad Dog, and then come out here and say this dumb stuff.
When you come to the underground, be ready to gargle.
Okay. And and then now we got to talk about this, right? We'll end the show here. And this is I really didn't think we were gonna run almost an hour with all this other shit. And because I had all this stuff planned to talk about Gerrit Cole. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this as plainly as I possibly can. Okay. And if I offend you, I don't really care. You're a dumb fucking moron if you think the Yankees should trade Gerrit Cole in the offseason. Dumb fucking moron.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean that's
rhetorical. Okay, absolutely, it's rhetorical. And you want to talk about shit that
not
gets
a question, but
that we have first, and we bring it to everybody's attention, and then everybody else jumps on it. Who's the first guy that started pointing out how many times the Yankees lost when Gerrit Cole allowed 2 earned runs or fewer? Who's the first guy that did that?
Who was that?
Okay.
And then it became a running narrative, and then everybody was tripping over each other to run that stat that it was now up to 7 times after the game in Miami on Sunday. I noticed that was a problem long before anybody could fucking.
Come on now.
Yeah. Okay. Not at first. Okay.
As per usual.
Think about that. If the and I should have done a little bit more homework, and maybe I'll do it for what happened.
Nothing. There's comment by Joan in the chat because Chris said, we're talking about gargling balls, and she said, make sure they're manscaped. And in this, we got a super chat while we're on it. Anthony says, you guys must have been listening to the fan today.
Christian certainly was.
I wasn't.
You saw a clip.
I saw the clip.
Yeah. What an awful garbage human that guy is. Licata.
I wouldn't call him a garbage human because he's got dumb takes on.
No, it's bad.
He was actually a really cool dude, but
I'm just kidding.
His takes are just bad.
But look, we're all talking about him now, right? I mean,
well, that's the thing that he's doing,
right?
It's he's just trying to get people to talk about him.
I mean, but get people to talk about you about good stuff though, like that you're entertaining and have good takes, not that you're just ridiculously stupid.
Right.
But anyway, right? So I should have done my homework because I wanted to look at how many what I would call pick-me-up games the Yankees have given Gerrit Cole, meaning when Gerrit Cole allows 4 or more runs and they've won those games versus games where they let him down, where he allowed 2 or less and they lost.
I'm going to tune out.
2 times.
Yankees have given him
one against the Rays, and then recently they did it.
That he allowed 4 or more and they won?
I'm going to tune out for a second. I'm going to do the exact
just the Rays,
binder.
Because they were down or no. Oh, he lost that game when he was the pitcher when they were up 5-0.
Yeah, 6-0, and then he
but then wasn't he the pitcher the next time too?
I think the Yankees have won. First of all, I think it's only 3 or 4 times he's allowed 4 or more this year. I don't think they've won any of those games. I don't think they picked him up once this year.
No, then I guess he wasn't the pitcher in that game because remember they lost 5-0. They lost the game they were winning 5-0 to the Rays, and they did it right back to them like a week later.
Yeah, I don't think he pitched. I'll look
it up.
That was a very disappointing game because I think they were up 6-0.
Yeah, that was the first heartbreak of the year, I'd say.
And then he gave it all back, and they ended up losing that game.
Yeah, that was bad.
And then this is a take that I don't understand. Like when they say Gerrit Cole should opt out and leave because he deserves better. So this team is an unmitigated dumpster fire, and your response is to not have the best pitcher in the American League anymore.
No, I don't think that's where they're coming from, though.
Oh, but that's how I'm allowed to interpret shit the way I want to.
Right.
I think it's stupid. Okay.
I do. I still think it's dumb, but I think the point is, like, we love this guy at this point, and we feel bad for him. because he's on a team that clearly doesn't care about winning like they probably promised him.
So why don't they fix the other problems then instead of getting rid of Gerrit Cole?
Right. That would be ideal. I think everyone's given up on that hope at this point.
That was Cortez who was pitching that game I was referring to.
I'm doing it right now. You guys talk. I'm going to get it for you.
Oh, you want to bring up more WFA and hosts, and this ties all into Gerrit Cole here. Okay, so Evan Roberts had the genius idea that the Yankees should trade Gerrit Cole in the offseason to, quote, replenish their farm system. Okay. Now, for anybody that agrees with that, let me debunk that very quickly here. Okay. Now, you might look and say that the Mets had 2 aces and they traded them and replenished their farm system, right? What did Steve Cohen do exactly to get top tier prospects back from the Rangers and Astros, respectively? What did he do?
Paid most of the contract.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Okay. So do you think Hal Steinbrenner is going to pay? Because essentially Gerrit Cole's on a 1-year deal right now. He can opt out after 24. The Yankees can pick up. They can counter it by adding a 10th year at the end of the deal, and then he's here, right? So basically, for argument's sake, it's a 1-year deal right now, $36 million a year. So how much money do you think the Yankees would have to pick up on that to get
prospects
top 1 or 2 in their farm system?
Yeah, I mean,
say 20 million.
Yeah,
20
in the 20s.
In the 20s, right?
Sure.
Okay. See how Steinbrenner trading his best pitcher in that situation and paying another team $22 million just for prospects. You see him doing that?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Number 2, why it makes absolutely 0 sense to do it. Who's going to fucking trade Gerrit Cole?
Like trading who's going to trade Cole for him, or who's going to trade?
No. Not the team that would, because I'm sure if the price is right, there'd be 15 teams lining up to trade for Gerrit Cole. Who is the man that is going to send him away from the Yankees and being in charge of getting the package back for Gerrit Cole? Who's going to be that guy?
Brian Cashman.
Trust him to get the appropriate players back for a guy like Gerrit Cole?
No, not really.
I don't think their point is to trade him for the future of this team. I think their point is just trade him so he can be out of his misery.
No, because I brought up what Evan Roberts said today.
He
said the Yankees should trade him to replenish their farm system.
Oh, that's dumb. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Nah, you don't trade someone like that away.
Gerrit Cole, should not be thinking about trading him. You should be thinking about building around him. That is what the Yankees should be doing right now. Figuring out how to make sure that Gerrit Cole pitches in a fucking World Series wearing your uniform. That's what the Yankees should be trying to figure out right now. How we get Gerrit Cole starting game 1 of the World Series wearing Yankee pinstripes. That should be number 1 on the fucking agenda for this team. How do we accomplish that in 2024 where Gerrit Cole takes the mound in the Bronx in game 1 of the World Series? How do we do that? That should be what their goal is. And how do we make sure that Aaron Judge is getting a roll call in late October? How do we make sure that those 2 guys are playing in the World Series for us? Because that's what they deserve. They don't get, we should trade them because they deserve. No, fuck you. What they deserve is to have the Yankees build a fucking proper team around them so they win a World Series for us. Gerrit Cole goes and gets fucking traded back to Houston and they win another World Series. You're going to feel good about that? Oh, you deserve better. Yeah, how's that going to make you feel, pal? If he gets traded, let's say he gets traded to fucking San Francisco Giants and he wins a World Series with his brother-in-law. Oh, I'm so happy for Gerrit Cole because he deserved better. No, it's going to make me feel like fucking shit because he should have won one with us.
Oh, man, how far we've come from the offseason, though, with the San Francisco Giants. I mean, we thought we were, like, taking their season away from them, and it turns out they're actually in the wild card if the season ended today.
I was going to look up their record.
I have your answer.
What's my answer?
Gerrit Cole has 4 games where he's allowed 4 runs or more.
Okay.
4 games.
Okay.
How many of those have the Yankees won?
2.
They picked him up twice this year. Okay.
He didn't get the win.
Oh, but the team picked him
won.
up twice. Okay. I didn't even think it was that high. Okay.
It was the Padres was the first game. They ended up winning 10-7.
Mhm.
And then
I remember that game. Okay. Yeah.
Then against the Rays, they lost that game. That was a bad game. 7-8. That was really the downfall of the season, I
Yeah,
feel
that was
like.
the
It
start.
never picked back up. When Judge came back, it picked up a little, and then whatever. Then it
Mhm.
was the White Sox. They lost 5-1. And then it was against Baltimore. They won 6-5 in 10 innings.
Yeah, I think they
but
scored late there.
That wasn't in order, by the way.
oh, it's still a net negative of 5 games.
Yes. Correct.
That is correct.
They've
Oh.
failed him 5 more games than they've picked him up.
Oh, think about that.
Sad.
This team would be if they just
Yeah.
supported Gerrit Cole.
It's
Yep.
crazy, man.
Because they're 6.5 games out of that wild card right now.
So if you want to say that the 2 pickup games wash out 2 of those, then we'd be having a different conversation right now of what
Yep.
the Yankees can do to get to climb that 1 game hurdle. Because they're going to be playing, they're going to be playing all these teams that are in front of them, except for is Seattle in front of them now? They have
Yes,
to be.
Seattle
Oh, yeah.
is 6 games in front of them in the loss.
Yeah,
66
I
to
mean,
55.
They've been.
That's fucking crazy. How did
Yeah.
they fall 3 games behind the fucking Red Sox?
Yeah. Remember, if you go
Yeah.
back to our preseason predictions, we talked about how bad the Red Sox were going to be. And they aren't good, but they're that much better than the Yankees.
Last year everybody ripped me because I called them a 4th place team, and they're like, "Oh, you're dumb." Well, maybe I should just go into the seasons thinking that, because at least they won the division last year, and this year I was a lot more confident that they would win the division, and they're fucking disgustingly bad.
Yeah.
Look, you can't look. I understand it, and this is where K should kind of mend the 2 things together here. You can't predict injuries, and when Aaron Judge is going to miss 2 months, it's going to deeply affect this team, right? But this team should also not be exposed the way they were exposed while Aaron Judge was injured.
Correct.
Right.
And that's where you have to say that Brian Cashman didn't do his job. And that's where you have to say that the fans are right in wanting change. Because we can bring up the Braves again, right? How do you lose Ronald Acuna Jr. and still win a World Series? The Yankees can't even stay above 500 when they lost Aaron Judge. And look, we wish Rizzo the best. It doesn't even matter if he comes back this year. You just hope that he is able to continue his career, because this whole thing is absolutely scary with the head injury. And then, how many times he got on a plane, because we all know that affects everything, right? You can say what you want about Clint Frazier, but the kid had concussion problems, and it really attributed to a lot of what happened to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
I hate bashing Anthony Rizzo because I love the guy, and like we say all the time, he just is a Yankee. Like, you think of guys that just fit this uniform perfectly, right? But why is Anthony Rizzo here? There were 3
safe pick.
There were 3 available first basemen that offseason when they re-signed Rizzo. It was him, Freddie Freeman, and Matt Olson. And the Yankees, and we all knew Rizzo was the clear 3rd guy there. Not that he was a bad choice, but he was a clear 3rd choice. But he's here because he was the safest and cheapest option available to the Yankees. There's no risk involved. Excuse me. There's no risk involved in re-signing Anthony Rizzo. We got a $17 million deal, which is really nothing if a guy's going to hit 30 home runs, and which he was really on the pace for before he ran. He had the incident with Tatis. He was going to be you want to say maybe he was going to be a 270-ish hitter this year. It looked like that was the path that he was on with his defense, right? There's all things that are you put a guy on open market, you get him for $17 million a year. That's great. But there was no risk involved in re-signing Anthony Rizzo. You had to go out and give Freddie Freeman a $160 million contract at 30, at basically the same age of Aaron Judge, right?
Yeah.
That's a big risk involved, giving a guy in his 30s $160 million. You had to then go out. I don't know what Matt Olson ultimately signed for,
It's
but it
15 million a year, but he's there for till like 29.
it was a 9-figure deal. You had to not only trade prospects for him, but give him money on top of it. This is what we talk about with the Yankees. They don't show the, I'm trying to think of the right word here. They don't go for the kill.
No.
They
just
haven't in a long time.
They just go for that safe thing. Whatever's safest is what they do. And that's why I was so much, and I know you get into debates with people, Freeman, Olson. I mean, look at Freeman's numbers. Wouldn't you love to have him in this lineup, left-handed?
Yeah. Oh man, big time.
I mean, he's got an OPS over 1,000 right now, right? Batting over 300. And that's one of the things.
Sorry.
And this is one of the things that why I wanted Freddie Freeman so bad. Because it was such a Yankee thing to do, is to go out there and drop big money in front of a guy coming off of winning a World Series and now saying, hey, we had a good player here, but you will make us better. And we're going to go out there and flex our financial might and show you we're the Yankees and bring this guy in. And said they re-signed Rizzo, and we were all like, okay, just get it over with at this point. It almost made you, the way the Yankees handled that offseason made you resent Anthony Rizzo.
2 quick things. Joe just said in the chat they don't take risks. I half agree with you. They do take risks. As so long as it's not going to compromise their future. They'll take risks on guys that are low risk, high reward.
Right.
It's still a risk.
That's what I was gonna get into, because they take the safer choice, even if there is a risk. Because I was going to reference the Montas trade, because you could technically say that was somewhat of a risk, but when you look at in hindsight of who else they could have acquired, it was the safer.
They gamble in the wrong the wrong table,
and it just
all the time.
And it was still somewhat safe when you look back on it, because Luis Castillo was really.
It's like Cashman's walking through the casino and he sees a bunch of $100 minimum. Blackjack hands, and then he's like, "Where's that $5 table? Where's that fucking $5
be here all night? I just want to play all night, stay even."
Penny slots and at a penny at a time.
And my other quick thing is, I'm just thinking about this. Other than pitchers, and other than re-signing guys that were already here, when's the last time the Yankees really made like and I could just be forgetting about someone, like a huge offer and signed a free agent position player that was like a game changer? When's the last time that happened?
Like an off-season, like free agent signing?
Free agent signing.
I mean, the free agent signing, I can't think of off the top of my head, but the closest would be when they got Stanton.
Ellsbury?
Right, but Stanton was a trade.
But still, there was a big financial commitment to Stanton.
I understand.
It could be Jacoby Ellsbury.
I'm talking about it.
Brian is right in the sense that was probably the last time.
So when's the last successful guy? You can't even think of it. I can't even think of one.
Teixeira.
Teixeira was. You got to say Teixeira had a successful career.
Okay, but that was how long ago?
Or was A-Rod traded first?
A-Rod was a trade.
A-Rod was a trade. Teixeira.
Yeah, Tex.
And guess what happened that year? When we had a fucking first baseman hitting bombs, one of the bigger free agents, fucking eye-opening signing. What happened?
Yeah. Well, the moves lately have been more Ellsbury's than Ellsbury's. That could be the new term for
they don't even play in that. They don't even really play in that end of the pool, though. They still gave
starting pitcher. They gotta get their floaties pumped up. It's a deep end.
And somebody brought this up the other day, is that the contract Rodon got and the contract that Freddie Freeman got
was
exactly the same. I think they're both 6 for 162.
Jesus.
I mean, it's like you go back and you look, what would you rather have? But you can't. I hate playing that game because I wanted Freddie Freeman, right? Obviously that was my first choice, but I can't go back and say that they shouldn't have signed Carlos Rodon. It hasn't
No,
worked
no.
out. It hasn't worked out to this point, but I can't go
definitely not.
back and
It was
and
a
say
move
that.
you had to make. It was a move you
This-
had to make.
You know, my cousin texted me right before we came on. He said, whoever's on WFAN now, WFAN theme here today, it was just dumb things that they're saying is that they were ripping Cashman for giving Luis Severino that extension. You can't go back in time and change your mind on something that you thought was a good idea at that point, because you were getting a guy that looked like a legitimate ace for $10 million a year. Just because it didn't work
Yeah.
out 4 years later, you can't go back and rip Brian Cashman for that.
You can
And he
say
had a good
the
year
tru-
last year too.
You can say the
196 batting average
truth.
against.
Like you can say the truth and reflect on it and say it didn't pan out for them. But at the time, it wasn't a dumb move. It'd be
much as
dumb
well-
if it'd be a very dumb move if they handed him a fucking contract now.
Right.
As much as we grew to dislike Aaron Hicks, when the deal was consummated, I said this is a
It was a steal.
It was a good idea
Yeah.
at the time. Maybe the years, what was it, 7 years at the time was maybe a little lengthy, but for $10 million a year coming off the year he had, if he was even around that was no brainer right
yeah,
there.
it was 7 years, $70 million.
And if he was bad, did you ever think they'd hang on to him for as long as they did? Like,
Oh no. So there's plenty of things that the Yankees do wrong that we can say at the time were wrong and rip them for. But I'm never going to go back in time and say that something that I agreed with at the time. Now I'm going to just add it on to the list of things that I think Brian Cashman should be fired for.
right.
So, I mean, just to kind of put a bow on this, man, like I want the last pitch Gerrit Cole ever throws in his career to be in a Yankee uniform. Like I'm a admitted Gerrit Cole fan. I'm, he's okay. Everybody's got that one guy, right? I'm sure if you guys came up
Hey,
with somebody.
Christian.
Hey, Gerrit,
Christian, you look good, man. You've been running.
been running away from watching you guys play.
Yeah. Saturday though, I'm pitching.
I know
Big
it's
event.
my luck, dude. We get to be live while you're pitching.
Yeah, it's nice. It'll be a fun thing to experience with the fans.
Are you
Just
gonna-
watch me.
Are you gonna man up to Rafi Devers? Or are you gonna pitch around him?
We might have to throw a couple 2-0 sliders in there and maybe see what happens. But yeah, he's a special talent. He's a special talent. He's so good. He's so good.
So Devers hit a bomb against the Nats today, and I said, "Oh, he's getting in shape for the Yankee series."
Yeah, that home run he hit against Chapman, that was like crazy to me when that happened. That opposite field off like 102. I was like, all right, Devers is pretty good.
What would be pretty good here is if we saw this is the last push, guys, because the next time you hear us, we will be in Lido's in North Arlington doing the live broadcast on NYYU of this Yankee Red Sox game. So it's Saturday at 1 p.m. at Lido's in North Arlington, New Jersey. Okay, there are two locations. You want to go to the North Arlington location. We will be there live. We'll broadcast during the Yankee Red Sox game. It will start at 1:00. We'll be there early. Okay, setting up. So if you come in early and want to say hello before the show starts, we'll send Ryan out there to do impersonations.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another thing too. The specials start at 12 when they open. So, and we'll be there.
Well, like we said earlier in the show, there's going to be beer bucket special starting at $18. They got a special ballpark sampler, appetizer sampler just
for us.
Just for us. And then they're going to have special giveaways from their vendors. And then I have two special giveaways that we're going to be doing I don't know how, I think they're doing theirs raffle style. We're going to do ours trivia style. So you're going to have to answer a trivia question in order to win the two prizes that I have. So I'm excited. It's an unbelievable opportunity to be able to do a live show at a sports bar like this. I'm very excited for it, and we would love to see a great turnout. So if you're in the area, or even if you're not, man, we'd love to see you out there Saturday at 1 p.m. at Lido's in North Arlington, New Jersey.
Please come on down. I'll be there.
Chris,
you going?
I might.
SGR is going to be there. I mean, what else do you need to know?
That's it. That's all you need.
That's it. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Just gotta.
And I don't know. I guess we'll call it NYYU Day at Yankee Stadium is still on at April. Jesus, I'm
Oh,
looking
man,
forward to
dude.
April.
You wish it was April.
I'm looking forward to April already because there's nothing left to really look forward to this year. But yes, NYYU Day is September 23rd in the Audi Club at Yankee Stadium, and we'll love to see you out there. Even though, like we said, the Yankees aren't going to be playing for much, but we would love to see you out there, support the channel, and come hang out with everybody in the underground.
Yeah.
Oh, again, last call for Litos, bro. We want to see everybody out there Saturday, 1 p.m. in North Arlington. We want to thank everybody for their continued support of NYYU and NYYST. And we want to thank everybody for listening and watching episode 345 SGR.
Go Yanks.
Did you hesitate or did I just not hear you right away?
Who's it, me?
You just didn't hear him.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
I know.
Okay.
Actually, I was actually given a really dramatic pause. Go Yanks.
Let's say goodbye.
Can't make a promise, but I do my best. 25 sitting on 25 racks. Just got started, no, we ain't done yet. But a new crib, that's a goddamn flex. Sign that check. Told them last year that I've been up next. Can't take calls.